Hey guys, Twitch JCB here. I'd like to discuss with you guys on my experiences with Yasha Legends of the Demon Blade. The game is split into 3 different stories of Yasha, Sara, and Takitora. At first I thought they were connected with each other, however that wasn't the case. Instead, the stories are separate from each other with a few similarities branching off. I started off with Shigore's story, as at first it gives us a prologue of knowing there was a war between humans and demons in the past, which was ended by Yasha, and now the nine-tailed fox comes back to stir trouble for the village. After it flees with the blades, we make chase after it to see what's going on. One noticeable thing would be the lack of characters being voiced, as we would have to read the text as we progress on. I am okay with this, as the text doesn't drag on for too long as it gets right into the gameplay. The gameplay is a mix between roguelike and hack and slash elements as we go into the stages slicing away the demons, then challenge the bosses in between to reach our goal, taking care of the nine-tailed fox. Shigore's style is comprised of 2 swords that can be switched around back and forth, and they each have their own unique abilities attached onto them. Both swords can use light and heavy attacks as combos, and we can dash away from attacks, but there is a stamina gauge involved as we have to use it at the most appropriate times. On top of that, we do have the parry attack, as we can either press at the right time when the enemy attacks to perform a mystic art, or have it charge down then released once they strike to perform the grand mystic art. They are great for clearing away a horde of enemies or keeping the offense going. With these mechanics, it's fun and challenging to get better each time because it can be brutal at first dying the first few tries, but with the rewards we can get after returning back to the village, we can buy new skills and upgrades for our needs to strive to the end. Boss fights happen in between each of the stages, and it provides us an insight of what connections do they have with Shigore and the nine-tailed fox. They have large health bars with a few attack patterns that we will need to learn on how to avoid and counter in order for our chances to defeat it. One of the things I've learned while taking care of these guys is being able to perform a grand mystic art finish once they have been stunned in position. We do need to take care of certain factors of getting them into that state, but it becomes easier to finish off these guys in a flash once we are able to pull it off. Another thing in between these stages is entering the demon village at the end of each chapter to have the chance to heal ourselves up and buy extra goods from different stands. It can be situational on what we need to do, as we could go for some ramen that rewards us with buffs in the next stages, or go for artifacts that can also provide us with buffs or debuffs. Soul orbs are collectible as well, which I would look to see if they have a level 3 orb rather than going for the lower levels, which are easier to grab during the stages. And lastly, the trials, whereby if we complete the conditions we get rewarded with more artifacts, and if we lose then we just lose a chunk of our health. Generally, it's best to take on the challenges first before doing anything else here, so that way if we do lose then we can heal back at the hot springs before continuing on. After going through the 3 chapters and reaching the end of the character's story, we can still carry on going through the levels with the addition of changing our appearance and the Infernal Scroll that provides us extra rewards, with the exchange of debuffs being activated throughout the levels. This presents a new challenge to us while repeating the levels to increase our stats and replay value. Now going into the other 2 character stories, some of the characters we have seen from the previous story may be present again, but they have a different purpose this time along, with the same levels and bosses used again, which easily gives us a head start on making faster progress. The levels of our weapons and abilities do go back to the beginning, so we may need to recycle the progress of improving ourselves until we can complete the chapters. I would like to say it took me less hours to complete the remaining stories compared to Shigore's story, which could have been different if there were new stages and bosses to run through. The main difference I've discovered when playing through these characters would be how they handled their weapons. Shigore has a switching mechanic between her 2 swords, but Sara has both weapons to be used at the same time, along with Takitora being able to cover distance with his bow and arrow, along with striking foes up close with his melee attack. I was quick to discover my favorite being Sara, as she's fast and powerful with doubling down the damage from her 2 swords, along with the dash being a line of damage as well when going through enemies. The stories also become a main difference to explore how the other characters turn out in their scenarios. There was a difference in the tones, as Sara's story is built around comedic skits and breaking the 4th wall whenever the opportunity sees fit, and Takitora's story was coming to accept the real truth that stands in front of him. In terms of story overall, I'm leaning onto Sara's one as it told a good moral of being a loser can still have its merits. Overall, Yasha Legends of the Demon Blade offers fun mechanics through its hack and slash elements while gaining rewards from its roguelike side. Equipped with 3 different storylines to explore between these characters, this makes up to be a marathon and not a sprint. If any of you guys have any experiences with this game, feel free to share in the comments, and I hope you have a wonderful day.